Hello, everyone. So, in today's opportunity, we from Group 5, which consists of Gendis, Marannu, Irene, Kamilah, and Putri Aida, would like to do a presentation about parenting and children well-being for Psychology of Marriage and Family class. Next, please. And there will be 6 subtopics about this presentation and will be explained later. Next, please. So the first subtopic is about children and happiness, which will be divided into 2 parts regarding to the type of happiness. And the first part is about individual happiness. So in terms of individual happiness, we can see the ranking here. So the first place is married men and women, regardless their parental status. And then in the second place are parents who are cohabiting. And lastly, are single parents. So we can conclude from here that those who have a partner, whether that partner is a spouse or a person in a cohabiting relationship, they are personally happier in raising children than do single parents. And it is also found that married and cohabiting parents were equally likely to be depressed, while single parents have a higher degree to be depressed than the other parents with than the other parents who have a partner. And it is speculated that it is because the sharing of work, responsibility, financial costs, and the stress of raising children is made easier when one has someone to share it. And next part is the couple happiness. So actually, the marital happiness will decline over time for all couples, but childless couples experience more gradual decline in marital happiness, while couples with children experience more significant decline after the birth of their first child. However, couples with children are more likely to find an important purpose in life after having children, and that sense of purpose will replace the marital satisfaction. And other than the majority of couples that have declined in their marital happiness, there are also a minority of couples that still have high marital quality, although they have children. And these are the factors that contributed to it, which are higher educational levels, higher levels of financial resources, sharing of work and family responsibilities, support from family and friends, faith in a higher being, shared beliefs about marriage and parenthood, high levels of sexual satisfaction, and lastly is being generous to each other. Next, please. So the next subtopic is about the couple's strength and issues in parenting. And in the first table, we can see the strength of happy couples versus unhappy couples regarding parenting. So it is found that happy couples are more than twice as likely as unhappy couples to agree on how their child rearing is shared. And also, happy couples are almost as twice as likely as unhappy couples to be focused on both marriage and the children, to agree on how they discipline their children, and to feel closer after having children. And still, happy couples are more likely to be satisfied in their marriage after having children. And in the next table is the top 5 parenting issues for couples. And in the first place, which happened to 82% of couples, are that having children has reduced their marital satisfaction, which I already explained earlier. And then the next one is that in 65% of couples, they find that the father is not involved enough with their children. And then the third problem is that their partner focuses more on their children than on the marriage, so they cannot balance the focus. And then the fourth one is that they are dissatisfied on how they share the responsibilities in child rearing. And lastly is that they disagree on how they discipline their children. Next, please.
Okay, so now let's talk about the challenges of parenthood. So parenthood and child rearing is a very complex process, and majority of the time, parents are prepared for the childbirth process, but only few of them prepared to tackle the challenges that can arise in the parenthood process itself. So the first challenges that may arise is the role division in and couples relationship. So previously, before the childbirth, parents have their own role as a spouse and also as a lover. But after the childbirth, they tend to devote their time and focus on the babies only. And in terms of marriage, it may move the couple farther apart. And as Chacha has explained before, it also declined their marriage satisfaction as their quality time as a couple also decrease. And the next one is building relationship with the child. So it is very challenging, especially for new parents, to understand what the babies are feeling and how they should act to satisfy their needs. But at the same time, parents also need to devote a lot of time to help the children to develop a secure attachment, because if not, the children may grow up and develop an insecure and also avoidant type of attachment. The next one is being a parent is not only about providing physical and also emotional support, but the parents also need to guide the children's behavior in order to maximize their potential. So the management process include ensuring the children's security, correcting their behavior, giving feedback or punishment, as well as monitoring and guiding their behavior when they are older. And last but not least is financial challenge. Raising children is very expensive, regardless of the family's economic background. In the US, in 2015, middle-income couple will spend approximately $233,610 from birth until the child is 17 years old. And for a lower income family, it is approximately $175,000, and for higher income family is $372,000. So the diagram below represent the family spending that the family need to, devote their money on, with housing, food, childcare, and education, as well as transportation dominating the family spending. Next.
Okay, so the next subtopic that we're going to discuss is style of parenting. But first, I'm going to mention the two key aspects of parenting. So the first important aspect of parenting is parental support, which is defined as the amount of caring, closeness, and affection that a parent exhibits or gives to a child. And the second one is parental control, which is defined as the amount of flexibility that a parent uses in enforcing rules and disciplining a child. And as you guys can see on your right, there are 5 styles of parenting. Next, please. Okay, so I'm going to explain the 5 parenting style. So the first style is democratic style, where parents establish clear rules and expectations and discuss them with the child. Although they acknowledge the child's perspective, they use both reason and power to enforce their standards. The second one is authoritarian style, where parents establish rigid rules and expectations and strictly enforce them. These parents expect and demand obedience from a child. The third style is permissive style, where parents let the child's preferences take priority over their ideals and rarely force the child to conform to their standards. The fourth parenting style is rejecting style, where parents do not pay much attention to the child's needs and seldom have expectations regarding how the child should behave. And the last parenting style is the uninvolved style. So in this parenting style, the parents often ignore the child, letting the child's preferences prevail as long as those preferences do not interfere with the parents' activities.
Okay, so the next subtopic is child rearing. Now, although they are sometimes used interchangeably, parenting and child rearing are actually two different things. The difference is that parenting is the attempt to foster children who are unburdened by any problems, deficits, weaknesses, or faults, and hindered from making any big mistakes. While child rearing is preparing their children to be responsible, emotionally resilient, and self-controlled, focusing more on character rather than achievements. Parents who choose child rearing usually allow children to experience controlled amount of stress and hardships. Both types of parenting, both types of parents love their children and only want for the best. But those who apply parenting focuses more on personal development, while child rearing focuses on building strong interpersonal relations. And there are theories in child rearing. The first one is bidirectional effects. It views the parent-child dynamics as an interactive cycle with mutual influence. It studies both the effects of the child and on the parent and those of the parent on the child in order to understand the parent-child dynamics. The next one is the psychodynamic theory from Freudians, which emphasize the importance of developing a positive emotional environment for children to ensure the role of parents as trusted and consistent individuals. And then organismic theory, which focuses on cognitive development. Because the mind develops through various stages throughout childhood and adolescence, it encourages parents to select developmentally appropriate stimulations for their children. And then the last one is learning theory from the behaviorists. Rather than focusing on punishment, they encourage rewarding the positive, known as reinforcements. Reinforcements can be given in various forms, such as praises, hugs, or maybe foods and snacks. Okay, next.
Okay, moving on to the last subtopic, we will discuss about issues in parenting. So the first one is positive disciplines. So a survey by Dan Kindlin, 2001, mentioned that today's parents may be more indulgent and lenient with their children. And so the survey also led to other conclusions, saying that parenting style changed from parent dominant to child-centered. And so a more balanced approach is established, which we know as positive discipline. So the definition of positive discipline is an approach that focuses on teaching children how to behave responsibly in life while honoring and loving them for the unique person they already are. And so basically parents help children to learn to do good and at the same time feel good about themselves for doing good. And so the second issue is corporal punishment. It is defined as the use of physical force, which causes the child to have bodily pain with the goal to correct or change a child's behavior. For example, spanking, slapping, or hitting. And so the main reason that parents use this punishment is parental stress. So cumulative circumstances can build up to the point that parents use harsh discipline with their children. And so the use of corporal punishment may change behavior in a short term, but in a long term, it is actually not effective. And so the result of using this type of punishment, the first one is that it doesn't have a desired effect in changing behavior. Then the second one, it is more likely to create additional behavior problem, including poor mental health, such as anxiety, depression, and general maladjustment. And the last one is it affects the child-parent relationship. Okay, so moving on to the third issue is childcare. So as we know, nowadays parents are taking care of their family and also they work while they handle their family problems and issue. And so the main issue is that working mothers and fathers are increasingly needing childcare for their children. And so the form of childcare include relatives, family daycare, organized childcare facilities, such as daycare centers, preschool, or nursery schools. And so following the increasing need of childcare, a study by NICHD examined how daycare affect children. And they found four main results. The first one is that children in higher quality care had better language and cognitive development, and they were more cooperative. The second result is that children who spend a higher quantity of time in childcare show more behavioral problems. The third one is that center-based childcare is associated with better cognitive development and more positive social behavior, but also more behavior problems. And the last result is that parent and family characteristics were more strongly linked to child development than any aspect of childcare. And the last issue is co-parenting. So as we know, there is this traditional family rules where father is the provider, so they work, and the mother is the nurturer, so it focuses on the children and parenting. And so co-parenting approach improve this traditional view. So from what we see, current family situation, there are more mothers that also work outside the home, and also more men are sharing in parenting tasks. So this is where the co-parenting approach came in. So the definition is that it is an approach, a process where mothers and fathers coordinate and support one another parenting efforts. So basically, the parents share the responsibility equally. So they, including the responsibility to care for their child, housework, and also work outside. The advantage of using this approach is that there are greater satisfaction with their marriage and family life, and also improved relationship with their children. However, there is also another problem that may arise with using this co-parenting approach. So couple may be too occupied with their multiple roles. So they need to work, and then they need to care for their children, and also they need to do housework. And so eventually they will forget to focus on their relationship with each other. So we could say that the marriage is neglected. And if this keeps going on, then it may result in divorce. Okay, so this is the end of our presentation. This is the reference that we use for this presentation. And yeah, we hope you understand. Thank you.